Emergency funds. And no, not a fund for hospitals. American financial commentators such as Susie Orman, David Back and Dave Ramsey talk about having an emergency fund covering 6 months. But where does that number come from? And exactly what is an emergency fund? So what is an emergency fund? Well, part of it is in the name. It is a pot of money that you set aside to cover for unforeseen circumstances. From job loss to illness, the fund is designed to cover your mandatory costs for a given period should you not be receiving an income, such as your home, family, food and commuting. Your have to pay costs. It is also there to cover big costs you don't plan on, such as cars breaking down to problems with your home. None of us want these things to happen to us, but when they do, being prepared for them can make a huge amount of difference from both the physical and psychological effects. So if you are living in the UK, how big should your fund be? Bearing in mind that based on a study by the Building Society nationwide, 11.5 million people in the UK have less than £100 saved. Well, there are a number of factors that go into this, and no one amount is the right answer. But there are general rules we can follow. Based on research from the government, 44% of unemployed individuals find work after 3 months, and job hunters in the UK spend an average of 10 weeks finding and applying for jobs before finding work. This brings us to a sensible figure of 3 months' costs to be saved in a fund. Something that will offer you a good level of protection without being an unachievable goal. So what's the best way to work out what that total number needs to be? Well, you need to list all your costs that you have to pay. You can do this on a computer using Excel, or just get a piece of paper and your phone calculator. The main items that most people will have to pay for are the following: rent or mortgage, utility bills such as gas, electricity, water, council tax, credit cards or loans that have to be repaid, food and travelling to a place of work. If you have children, it's also important to account for their additional costs, bearing in mind that a sensible figure for the cost of raising a child each month is £400. Once you have your monthly have to pay costs, you can then multiply this by 3 to give you your emergency fund goal. Okay, so once you've done this, you'll most likely be like, whoa, that's loads. How am I meant to save that? And is there really a need for all that when I could use it to go on holiday or go shopping for things that I want? This is where we need to have a change of mindset. We will do future videos looking closely at the importance of changing mindset, but for the emergency fund, you have to look at it in a different way. This is not a pot of money that you can spend on holidays or go shopping. This is a pot of money that will save you when you are least expecting it. It could be the difference between surviving an unexpected event to not surviving. Until you view your emergency fund like this, you will struggle to create it and most definitely struggle to maintain it. So that is a little bit about the psychology of saving. Now we will look at the logistical means of actually creating that emergency fund. The fundamental key here is automation. Humans are inherently lazy and life is busy. Therefore, automation in finance is the main key to success. In this sense, automation is as simple as setting up a regular payment at the beginning of the month into an e-savings account. All major high street banks have these available, and they can easily be set up via online banking. If you don't have access to online banking, then just go to your local bank and ask to create one and set up a regular payment. How much money you start automating to go into this savings account is about how much you can afford. If you don't think you can afford much, just start with £50 every month. At the end of the month, you can then reassess and see how much more you could contribute to your fund. And then you can almost forget about it. Every month, that money will transfer into your savings account, and then 12 months later, you will have saved a considerable amount. Again, in a future video, we will look more closely at long-term financial planning, but that is another key to success. This is not a short game that can be realised month to month. You have to look at least 12 months in advance, and this is what will make the biggest difference to your financial situation. To repeat, automation is key and will be one of the main reasons you will succeed in creating the financial situation you need or want. Let's have a look at an example. In this example, your mandatory costs every month come to £700 and your take-home salary every month is £1,300 after tax. Therefore, your ideal emergency fund would be £2,100. To achieve this fund over a 12-month period would require you to set an automatic payment into a savings account at the beginning of the month of £175. This might seem like a considerable amount, but it will definitely be worth it should you encounter an unexpected financial event. Even if you don't encounter any issues, just having the emergency fund there will give you significant peace of mind. As we spoke about before, it takes a change in thought process to achieve this. And don't get me wrong, at times you'll want to spend the money in your emergency fund. It's not easy, but to truly feel financially safe and comfortable, this is one of the first steps you have to take. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more videos about improving your financial situation, from banking to investing. It's not as hard as most people think. It just takes time and knowledge to achieve.